We had one of our biggest months ever in November of last year. And I started deleting all of our processes. Holy shit. What are you doing? You just deleted onboarding. And I was like, no, we're starting over. That's how you grow through the third phase of your business.
The business revenue is like maybe probably roughly top line 10 million.
There is no ceiling in this business, but there is a fucking floor.
Go ahead. So top line is probably more about $11 million.
Okay.
So the thing is, I think we may be transitioning into, how we get to that number and, some of the things that we've done to reach there in the systems and processes. I think what's most important as we transition is we talk a little bit about, the agents and how we got there to that number through the agents.
Yeah.
Which for us is probably the biggest thing. There's splits, there's all that stuff. There's as you mentioned before we got onto the podcast, there's like the shiny objects and all that. But I think for us really is putting the foundation in to get to that number. And man, I would love to have Afroditi kind of talk to a little bit about that, if that's okay with you.
Well, even last summer. So we'll talk about because we did some huge, massive changes last year because of this exact reason. We have to as business owners, it's not just our sales are here and our units are here. When Dean and I are looking at our numbers and this is we do this on a monthly basis where we have to deep dive into our numbers and say, okay, what did the business bring in? Yep. Where are the operations going? Where do we pull from? What works? What doesn't work? And last summer, it's funny, while we were in Italy, because our brains don't turn off, we literally...
We couldn't stay on a vacation, dude. Well, we were on a vacation for 3 weeks and literally landed, 11 days.
We're chilling now. Let's talk business. So we're 2 weeks in and we start looking at the numbers and we realize that we always have a growth plan year over year. So it has to grow and it has to grow in multiple. It can't grow just units or numbers. It has to grow to the company as well, but also it has to grow to us. There's a number that we're looking at every month. And last summer when we were looking, we realized that we were still growing in units, we were still growing in volume. However, the money to the company wasn't where we needed to be. If anything, we had added too much and we're starting to hemorrhage a little. So we had to do a full overhaul. That overhaul ended up being, it's funny, we called it DAG 3.0.
Yeah, DAG 3.0.
DAG Dean Aguilar Group 3.0.
It's changed, the reason why we call it 3.0 is that our business have changed. This is the third time of major changes. But, I think, as she said, we realized that the things that we were doing to get to 30, 40 people, the spend, the operational staff, it was a bottleneck. We couldn't get any further. Yeah. Even though we're increasing slightly in units and things like that, but it was not sustainable for us to get to 600-700 million. So that's why 3.0 came about. Yeah. And this is she's one of the brainchild. She's like, dude, we're we're trying to enjoy Italy. She's like, okay, I got an idea. Let's talk about it. And literally nothing happened out of there.
My notes app was just crazy because I started brainstorming. We're sitting at the beach clubs in Sorrento, and I'm like, oh, I got an idea. I'm like, let's do this. And then I was like, we should look at this. And then we started I don't even, do we say bottom up or top down? I think it was, I don't even know. We started with us and we said, okay, where do we need it to be? And then we went down to numbers, but then from numbers correlate to people.
Yep.
So then we literally went through, do we have the right people in the right place?
100%.
Because we've had the same positions for the last 4 or 5 years for people where we were running a pod structure where we had pod leaders that had teams underneath them of 10 to 15 people. And we're are these pod leaders happy with what they're doing because we're not getting the production out of that cost? And that cost had increased last year. So we're okay, we're spending more money, but we're not getting the production. Come to find out through DAG 3.0, no joke, out of the 7 that we had, only 3 of them actually wanted to do it.
Yeah, they were doing it. They were doing it because they loved us. They were doing it for us, it wasn't their joy, and it showed. It showed in the way we were kind of growing their work. To be honest with you, as she was saying, one of the biggest things for us is we realized that there was no growth plan for our top operators. Right. We slipped. In all truth, we messed up because
it's us. We took our foot off the gas.
We really did. It's. You have these meetings with your operations staff and you're supposed to talk about not just you, not just the business, but what is their growth plan? you know, and we hadn't done that for quite a while. And a lot of eye-opening stuff. Like she said, it was just, you know, they were doing it for us, but even our operations manager, they had a plan 3 to 5 years that they envisioned for themselves within the organization that we didn't know. We had how we wanted them to grow. And you know, by them talking to us, okay, so now we have a roadmap. And the other thing too is we were always pretty good at, and we still are, is having a voice, with the team members having a voice. And she can attest to that for sure. Mm-hmm. She can lay out how we normally have those conversations with them, because we have them quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess our goal as leaders through like all of it 3.0 is like, I don't want to micromanage anybody. Like, how do I challenge you to be the best version of yourself and the best version of the role? That's one of the things we came up with last year too, was like, dude, we had the wrong people in the wrong roles. We had people who are super analytical, dialed in, process driven, who we took like, even like our sales manager role, we took it and separated it. So it's like the person who's great with the one-on-ones is doing more of the agent touches, where the other person is doing more of the analytical. And it's just like having the right people in the right places, overextending people's roles, not clearly defining what those roles were and our expectations. And that always frustrates everybody. So that's kind of where that all went through. And then we honestly do, like, once you're in a role and in a position, like, it is not my job to tell you you're doing it right, or Dean's job to tell you you're doing it right or doing it wrong. It's to expand your mind to look at the bigger picture. So are you growing in the role? If it's like a sales, let's just use a sales role, is you bring something to me and then I'm going to ask you the question, how is this going to affect sales? How is this going to drive sales? How is this going to drive revenue? How is this going to improve the culture? Mm-hmm. Great. Now we lay it out so that it's clearly defined for the team. And so I need them to think like I think, if that makes sense. Like, but
that's a difficult thing, by the way.
That's what I was gonna ask, like,
but in their own language. It's doable though. I think when it becomes doable is when you actually challenge them to think more, like,
so that's
deeper.
The hard thing. You as founders, business owners, entrepreneurs are constantly learning,
for sure,
constantly growing,
for sure.
For sure.
The people underneath, it's hard because you kind of feel like you have to pull them along sometimes.
Absolutely.
And you don't know if you're like doing too much and like trying to force them, or they're doing on their own. It's like that.
I have to get, I don't know if we do that much though, because like we really do. I think this is one thing that I got to give, like, Dean actually taught me this because he had to do it for me, because he had to loosen the reins to let me grow into my role. And that was all the way from so I didn't know real estate before Dean. So Dean was in real estate for years before me. I came over from hospitality. He taught me real estate. Like, I had to learn from him. We're both alphas. We're both drivers. Like, so I had to pretty much shut the fuck up and learn real estate from my husband. And so he had to let the reins go to be like, okay, she's a good agent. Let her run. And then
we do that now. I mean, we do that now with our team members.
Then we went to operations and he was like, okay, he was running ops and everything. So he's now like, okay, now he's moving into his role as CEO. Okay, Afroditi, you can take ops. Okay, now he has to let the reins go. Because I learned that from Dean, I think we've done a pretty good job of doing it for our people. So I don't think it's about like stringing them along and bringing them along. It's about giving them a voice and letting them know that, like, hey, if you come to me with an idea, it's never going to be like, absolutely no, I'm never going to shoot you down. Absolutely not. Because 99% of the fucking ideas on our team
100%.
come from them. They don't come from us. They're the ones in the trenches. They're the ones out in the field. They're the ones, my agents are the ones that give us great ideas.
100%.
Like, we're revamping our buyer and seller consult right now from one comment from an agent, like 2-3 weeks ago.
That's happened a couple
We're
times.
so freaking open to feedback, because like, if I think I'm the smartest person in the room, like, it's,
100%.
we're never going to grow.
Yeah. I mean, look, she's absolutely right. I mean, they have great ideas, and you mentioned them, I guess pulling them along to some degree. We have to. Right. We have to. The other side to it is I think we do a pretty good job of when they need a little help. It's just like, okay, we have a bottleneck. We want you to fix it, but we want them to think it through. Yeah. We want them to think it through, and they want to come up. But we just did this actually earlier today.
Literally today on the way here, which is so good. Like, so good.
But it was a situation where there was they needed to do something, provide us something. And the thing that was provided to us was very surface level, right? It was almost as if, hey, they were doing it because we had asked them to it, but you can see that it was just presented in a way that was answering a question versus actually coming up with the ideas we call it, you'll like this, we call it 3 beers deep.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why we say 3 beers deep, by the way, I'm going to sidetrack just for a second, is because in a role plays, agents have a hard time letting themselves go and be themselves. Mm-hmm. They're liking to qualify. Mm-hmm. And if we say sometimes it takes you to go 3 beers deep to be loose, and talk to Andrew like it's like 3 beers deep. Don't talk to him like a freaking sale, right?
Yeah.
They're focusing too much on what to say.
Correct.
We also say in our interview process, we're like, we don't want the front of like who you think you're supposed to be. We want the person that's hanging out with their friends, 3 beers deep, because that's our culture. Like, we're not alcoholics, but like that's our culture. Like our culture.
I don't even drink. So
yeah, he doesn't even drink. But our culture in our team is to be your authentic self. Like, who are you with your friends? Who are you with your homies? Who are you with your people? Who are you with your family, your cousins? Like, who are you at Thanksgiving when you guys go outside and like do whatever? Yeah. Like, that's the you that we want to see.
So, referencing 3 beers deep to him, I think he understood. It's like, okay, so now I have to dissect what I gave you and give you 3 more levels down of how this could work, present that to us, and now we walk it through. Like, we walk it through all of us, And
it's more asking the questions of like, you tell me how you think that this is like, and this is not a negative way. It's more of just like, it's a supportive and like, just making
their mind, opening their minds.
Opening their mind to it and making them look at it from a bigger picture. The only way that they're going to grow in their roles and start to take more from, and I don't want to say more from us, but the only way they're going to think like us is if we teach them to think like us. So they can look at these forward problems. You know what I mean? They can look and future forecast and be like, okay, that may be a bottleneck later. When you get your people to that point, that's when it starts running on its own. That's when I live in Italy for like 6 months out of the year. That's when I move. Yeah.
Have you guys ever like seen or heard of like the situational awareness curve or anything for leadership? Mm-hmm. Where there's different levels: S1, S2, S3, S4. S1, they need more direction.
Yeah.
S2, they need more motivation and selling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
S3, they need a little more support. Mm-hmm. They don't need you to necessarily tell them what to do. And then S4, they're like
mastery.
Mastery.
Right.
What took me a while to learn as like a kind of like a D disc personality is like just telling people what to do.
Yes.
But learning that like you just have to sometimes sit back, as you guys are saying, and just ask them questions and have them kind of figure it out on their own.
Right.
But it also depends on the person too, though, because you're 100% right. Because some people don't take to that as like, we know our people so well that like some people, I'm just gonna bounce the ideal off, and it's gonna like we can like ping it back and forth. There's other personalities, kind of like this particular one, where we're like, we need you to think through this, because when they come up with the idea, they're like, okay, now it's like when the lights, like when like the lights just turn and they're like, oh shit, yeah, now I get it. You know what I mean? I was gonna say the lights turn on, but not that the lights were off.
You got through it. You got through it.
But like, I'm the worst at these. God, I mess it up every time. No, but like when it just clicks for them, and then the next time this comes up, they're gonna be like, okay, now I know for future, like there it is. Versus me being like, okay, let me bounce it off. I think there's other people on the team that I'm like, all I have to do is say it once, and they're gonna automatically get it. But it just depends on the personality type of the person.
What's interesting is you're talking about the curve. And I think, she knows this. We do it all the time, especially during like our role plays and things like that, is, not everyone learns the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Your personality is not, is different. And to get to that end point, it can't be a one size fits all. It has to be very different for each person. And then you can achieve true mastery, but it can't just be us having an expectation or even their voice. It has to be catered to who they are as a person, which I think that's how we manage. That's how we role play. We have the D's, we have the analyticals, we have all that, but they won't speak the same language. They won't speak our language.
And they don't have the same outcome either that they want. So like I have some of my leaders, like they're competitive uber competitive. And if like one in particular, like her number one driving force is to win and be number one. I'm like, phenomenal. So I lean on that because that's what her thing is. There's others who are like, I need facts, I need data, I need this.
Yeah.
Then you lean on that, but you got to know who your people are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know George Lawton in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
So I was speaking with him, and he said a lot of people in real estate want to hire the Ds.
Yeah.
And it's like they only want to hire the Ds.
Nope.
And then they realize they're all the same, and those people end up leaving if they don't have
Yeah.
a path up.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a whole other part of the world. If you only hire Ds, then you're missing like probably 50 to 75% of agents.
Yep.
For sure. For
Yep.
sure.
Or it's like, dude, and it's like, even when you're hiring like for your team, for like the support team, like I will hire people who are not like me. Like I don't need another Aphrodite. I need like the people that are going to do all the shit that I'm not good at. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, like I'm not good at marketing. Like I'm not good at this. Like I'm good at talking to people, shaking hands, kissing babies, thinking through operations like here. But I don't need 100 me's.
I think we would take, I think I just made a video about this. You know, we would take, instead of a high D who we know is going to close, right? But is a high D, and as you said, may bail, may be a cancer. I'd rather take someone that's at 70, 80%, that has a good culture fit, that's a team player, and that's willing to learn.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are going to stay.
Those are the people
all
that
day
are gonna
long.
thrive.
And that's how you grow the business. You know, the high Ds, man, I'm telling you, it's very difficult. And it's not high Ds because they challenge us. It's high Ds because if you're building a team, that will affect other folks. It rubs people the wrong way. And, you know, that's just not a good way to join, you know, grow a team when you have people looking at that and going, okay, well, I don't feel comfortable in this environment, you know? So
How many total people in the organization, roughly?
We have 120 agents.
120 agents.
Yeah, 120 agents right now. And then we have
11, 12 operational.
12 operational staff.
Yeah.
What did it take for you to have to learn as a leader to work with different types of people and to help different types grow?
That's a good
Great
question. It took a lot of people leaving.
Trial and error. Trial and error, actually.
It really did.
A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of learning lessons.
Yeah, I think, again, the biggest thing we probably learned is the my way or the highway
Doesn't work.
approach doesn't work. And I think that's where a lot of people we know, unfortunately, are in that situation with teams and everything. It's very difficult to run a business that way. I think one of the biggest things we've learned in the past was this happened to us where we had a team of, I think, about 7 people that were all ballers, right? But we obviously didn't manage correctly. We didn't have the operational staff to actually support the people in a certain way. And we didn't help that operational staff grow, which in turn have them leave one by one. I think the biggest thing is we only focused on sales, and we didn't focus on anything else. It was bottom line only for everyone. Like it was even the ops staff. It was like sales driven. You know, that's all it was. You know,
There's a coach that told us a long time ago to do things a certain way, and potentially a coach that had never ever been in real estate or dealt with people or dealt with the changing markets and what was happening back in like early 2000s or even in like the 90s. That doesn't cut it in like now, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to like pivot and change. And I think at that point, we were building these people up, but not flexible on the other side. And we were so small-minded in it to be like, and I can say that now, that we were really like small-minded in the fact that like I was the rainmaker. Like I'm out in the field. I was doing 40, 50 transactions on my own. So like the other stuff that was coming in, it was just so small. We were so small-minded with it on like not giving them a place to go to that we kept losing. And we would train these people up and they're doing 25, 30 deals and boom, they're gone. 25, 30 deals, boom, they're gone. When we had like a mass exodus of like, was it like 6 or 7 people? And then we were like,
crippled our business for a
little bit. Because I was like, okay, that's tough. Because now I'm like, more pressure here, more pressure there. What are we going to do? We literally took a weekend and we had to make the decision because we were like, okay, we're going to do one of 2 things. We're going to shutter the doors. We're going to go to you and I with an assistant and we'll just be in the field.
We whiteboarded the hell out of these
we
things.
Did.
We really did. We're like, all right, so we're going to think through operations, through everything, through sales.
The other choice was like, we're going to figure out how to grow this the right way. And then for him and I, we were both like, okay, what is your joy? He actually brought this up and he was like, what's the joy that we get out of this? And I'm like, look, financial, yeah, that's great. You get financial security from it, but money isn't everything. Money is not at the end of the day. Because we were making money, but we fucking hated going to the office because it wasn't a good environment. It wasn't fun. It wasn't joyful for us to be there. So we're like, okay, how do we create something that's extremely joyful for us to go to? Because we're pouring our heart and soul into this. And how do we create an environment where like other people feel the same, where people feel safe, where people can grow, where people can expand. And there's other places where not everybody's on a 50% split for the rest of their life with no movement. Yeah. How do you find room for them to grow? And then how do we give them places and positions to grow into so that they start leading? Yeah. And that like weekend when we were like, we actually like people. Yeah. Like that was what we decided. We were like, we like people and our joy became from giving other people success over just bringing money into.
And that's a byproduct. You know, that's a byproduct, right? Is your team members are happy. The money's gonna come regardless. I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure, you know, a lot of team leaders have echoed this. It's, you know, you take care of your people. They're very happy. They love coming to work, I know so many team leaders said they're family, but dude, we're family.
We both a true family.
We don't. So I'll give you a quick story. Last year, there was a husband and wife team, 70 transactions, okay? Come and say, hey, we love you. We heard a lot about you. We see you on social. We know that your team celebrates you guys, which caught our attention. We'd love to set up a call, set up time to come, sit down with us. Dude, they sat down, and 3 minutes in, I was like, nope. This is not going to, I don't care about your transactions. And obviously I delivered the information in the quickest way, but it was the quickest 15 minutes I've ever had in my life as far as talking to someone, because we're so protective of the culture. And that's really what we hire on. Part of the interview process is, really kind of diving deep of who the person is rather than their experience. And we turn away more business than we hire. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Netflix, like no jerks rule.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's it. But ours is probably a little bit more descriptive.
That's it. Exactly.
Like, don't be an asshole. Yeah. That's it. There we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, because I saw you had a time, I don't know if it was the same time when those 7 left, where like 4 top producers left, and it caused you to have to reevaluate things.
Correct.
And I'm curious, from that learning, how do you change your leadership cadence with you two of okay, we're going to plan, we're going to stay on tune with things, and then we also need to stay in touch with the agents. Did you start to build any sort of cadence?
So yes. So again, going back to the joy of what we did, right? We built up those agents, they left. And she was making majority of the money for the business, and I was actually still producing at the time. We realized that the only way this was going to grow is if one of us took a step back and handled a completely different avenue of the business, that's where it happened. Is there was probably a 2-year period where she still had to be the rainmaker, but we made a lot less, as you can imagine, than having all our ballers, because we had to. It took me stepping back and doing the hiring and doing the coaching as she's out there doing the grinding, and unfortunately being the entire P&L of our whole damn, you know what I mean? It's she was everything of the company. And so when we did that, that's the pivot that we made. It was that sole pivot of being able to let go, as she talked about earlier, which I think a lot of people have struggled with, because it's usually the my way or the highway. And this is how we're going to grow. Everything's about me, this, that, and the other. It was the only way, and it's actually, and as she could tell you, we have a very good dynamic. We have a good marriage. We do very well together. I'm
just kidding.
No, she can tell. She's joking with him. She knows.
No,
she knows.
we're actually we're good.
We actually like each other.
Really good.
We actually like each other. But look, that was it, right?
Is it visionary-integrator type split?
Yes, exactly. That's the best way to
That is actually it.
Yeah.
It's it's funny. I make the joke, and they were like, so what is everybody's roles? And I was like, my role is to make sure none of the bullshit hits Dean's desk. So like literally he is like outside he's outside everything else and anything on the team. Like right now, that's what I handle on the inside.
So I'm curious selfishly, him, I'm sure he's an idea guy and he wants to have a lot of ideas come to you or like go to the team, like probably earlier on. Now it's probably way different. Mm-hmm. Like early on, like you're the visionary, you understand the product, you want the service to be a certain way. But then when you step away and you're like, she's running the operations and you circumvent and she's like, hey, don't.
So I love this too. We always joke about it. He pokes holes in it. So here's what happens now is like, this is what the team does is we bring it to him and then he's the one that's going to poke holes into it to make sure that whatever product or whatever ideal we do, we bring it to him. He pokes the holes in it so we can solve for whatever that is. He's looking at it from an outside perspective. We actually learned early on not to do what you were just saying, which is like, we don't step on each other's toes. Yep. Where like, hey, if you're running this, I'm going to let you run it. We'll have our couple 2 cents here and there, but nobody's ever going to like, we're not ever going to like step over what somebody else's roles are. When we first started, it was listings, buyers. So that's where we were very clear with it because with our personalities, it doesn't work. Like the house is not joyful. Like there's nothing, if we're at each other's throats, because then you're undermining what I'm saying and things like that. We learned early on not to do that at all. So we are very clear about it. And if any time either of us feels like that's happening, we have such a great communication piece that we will pull each other and be like, hey, I felt like this. I'm like, okay, I completely understand. Let me fix this and I'll solve for it here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let me back off or let me say this or let me say my piece so that you understand what that means. We're actually really good communicators in that aspect.
Nice.
I think we just learned it so because of our strong personalities. We talk about this. Like when I say we talk about this, we talk about this more than probably anything else just because we have to stay on top of it. In order to be successful, husband and wife, strong personalities, you got to have separation. Yeah.
I think, it's a great question that you had and she's absolutely right. I think, the best ideas come from the team, going back to your question and Aphroditi being able to, kind of take those ideas and elevate and it hits my desk. I think the biggest thing that's really helped us, it goes back to the separation of roles and me being separated is as I'm working on strategy, business and partnerships, which is a lot. And we can talk about how Zillow came about, was the biggest partnership of my life. But when it hits my desk, I'm very clear headed and it's more than likely it's something that I've already experienced without them prior to them, and it allows me then to poke the holes because as you can imagine, when you're in it, right, with 100 people and you're running it and you have all this fucking emotions happening, your emotion decision making is terrible, and so I think you need that person, whoever it is, you need that person to be able to like, okay, slap the shit out of me. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, what's going on here, right?
Somebody who's clear-headed, who's not in it, who's not doing it every day, to just take an extra set of eyes, like an extra set of eyes at it, like then you look at it. But he will like, you'll poke. I was joking about it because he's gonna, whatever we bring him, he's like, okay, here's a leak, here's a leak. How do you solve for those? Yeah. And we're like, okay,
I hope that answered your question.
The reason I asked is because like, for example, me, like I kind of sit more like CEO role and there's a COO. Like I kind of I know the service extremely well and I want to like improve the things. And he's like, hey, just put it on my desk. We'll prioritize it, do it. But it's like going around, I had to learn the hard way. Yep. That it's like, you can't go around. It's like, you have to sit outside, let them run. Correct. And then like any ideas that I might have, I have to like bring to him first. And then he could be like, okay, this is how the team can actually implement or execute that.
Yeah. Otherwise it's you doing it all.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to do because otherwise there's no way for growth in any company if we do it that way.
Yeah. And you drive your partner insane.
Yeah. You drive your partner
we wouldn't be married.
That's you drive your partner insane. We wouldn't be married. But then also I think that like your team isn't going to benefit from that either because you're not giving them the voice and giving them the power and letting them grow in the role. And that's so freaking big. Like that's what a lot of people, a lot of agents have that problem of letting go of power. And I think he said it best. It's like the my way or highway does not work. Like you have to trust in the people that you hire. Otherwise, why'd you hire them? Why are you paying these people 6 figures a year?
Yeah, that's
or
from
much
top
you're paying
down.
them?
That's from
like
top down.
to do that. Like how much? Why are you paying them for that if you're just going to do it yourself anyways?
Yeah,
It doesn't make
100%.
sense, and they'll never grow and never be better in the role.
Yeah.
So do you guys have because I'm sure there's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of things as a business owner that you just always want to improve everything.
Yeah.
You just have to prioritize a few things.
Yeah.
That you can't do everything.
Yeah.
How do you kind of go through that like prioritization?
So we do we have weekly meetings with the whole team, and then we also do weekly leadership meetings. And then they bring those in, and then we prioritize from there. So
It's literally like their own business plan.
yeah, and they bring
know.
them to us. Like every single week we do a roundtable. So it's a structured meeting. So it's like we finish with our team meeting every Monday. Right afterwards, we take about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what it is. And we go like division by division. We'll start operations. Hey, ops, what do you guys got? Hey, listing team, what do you got? Hey, marketing. Okay, what you got? Hey, CFO, what do you have working over here? Sales. Okay, we have these 2 initiatives. What's popping here? Then we go over to all of our trainers and then like our culture leaders.
Yeah.
We go to them as well. Everyone tells us like, hey, I don't have too much on the books right now. Like we're good. We're focusing on this. We're driving. Awesome. Kill it. Keep doing your thing. Hey, we're seeing these couple of leaks. Okay, cool. Let's go into a deeper meeting to figure out what that is. When someone wants to bring something to the team, like we do kind of quarterly reviews too. We look with our CFO, of course. Like she's got to look through everything and say like, hey, it's in the budget. It's not in the budget.
That's 100%
like,
true.
is it in the budget or it's not in the budget? Or like we just did an overhaul of our systems, like one of our back end systems, because we realized that there was like the team wasn't utilizing for the cost that we were having. And there's a better option out there that will save us. I would think it was what, a third of
But
the
you know
price?
what's interesting is our leaders brought that to us.
Yeah, our leaders are the ones that brought it to us.
They worked it out. They had it all. They pitched it. Like they had
It's
it all.
kind of like Amazon, the memos.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard that concept
Yeah.
where they make a memo of something before the meeting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they have it all situated. Well, they know what to come to the meeting with. So no
That's
meeting.
it.
We don't want to do meetings just for shits and
I
giggles.
hate
Like,
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're not reviewing. It's like what are we doing right now?
I'm like, why? I don't want to do a meeting for it. We're all so busy doing our own things that we're like, there's no need for a meeting for the
It's
sake
just
of a meeting.
it's an idea think tank for
It's a
most
think
of the and review, but an idea think tank. It's the only way your business is going to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quick overview, quick think tank, quick throw your ideas out, and then again, but everybody has a voice and everybody feels comfortable coming with that. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, that's going to be expensive. Let's table that. Like, let's just table that for Q. I already know that's going to be expensive. Let's table that for Q3. But
the biggest thing that we do really well with that, I think. God, I hate saying we're.
Yeah.
Hey, this is why
God,
we're
you're
great.
so conceited.
No.
It's all a learning lesson as you're
is.
building.
It is,
It's like
you
the
know.
saying of you're building the plane as you're flying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, for them, the biggest thing is when they do come with this stuff and we're reviewing it, is the last piece is obviously that execution, you know? And
What does that
so
look
whatever
like?
they came with us, we have to have, you know, deadlines and things that they have to do. That's the one thing that we do hold them accountable to. And I think that's what works because, again, we all have these great ideas, but, you know, it doesn't matter if there's no execution behind it. So that's usually what we leave the meeting with. And we pick up right when we left off in the next meeting.
Yeah, because early on, like for example, for us, the leadership meetings were just updates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And it's like
that's it, right?
It's annoying.
That's a lot of people do.
You could have sent me that in an email.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I
That's
didn't need
exactly.
to be on this call. Like,
Yeah.
how do we make these more structured? The other thing we got really good at too is sending the recaps at the end. And I know like the cool thing is Zoom will do it for you as well. But sending those recaps, especially if there's like action items that need to get done on it, you're like, okay, great. Like we do a sales team meeting like every other week. So like anybody who is doing the one-on-ones and things like that. And like right afterwards, there's it's actually on a text thread. It's like, okay, these are the 5 things that need to get cranked out. We'll circle back to this next week. And then just ping me as soon as these are done. If they have like dates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're leaving, if you're ending it, it can always be an email. It can always be a breakdown. But like, I think like that, the recaps are key. Like that's just, nobody can read your mind. And as
there's
much as you want to go
always,
through.
like an owner and like a
Yes.
date.
Yeah.
Owner and date. Yeah, there always has to be. It's like what is it called? Smart goal setting. It's the
Smart,
same thing.
yeah.
You got to have it relevant. You got to have it timed. You got to have this. So if you want to have an action item, you need to have a date it needs to be completed by
100%.
and expectations on it, and then what's happening in the meantime. So,
Okay.
and that sets up realistic expectations for our people because now I'm not going well, this was never done.
For sure.
That was something I learned years ago too, which was like, hey, let's get this done. And then I'm like 3 weeks in, I'm like, did I ever get done? And they're like,
No,
well, yeah, it's on my desk. Like I never even started it. And I'm like, okay, great. They can't read your mind.
Yeah.
So we have to be very clear about it, even though people should. Read my mind. I'm like, they joke, speak Aphrodite.
Yeah.
So in this DAG 3.0, curious with the pod structure and everything, the leaders, was it just kind of like a changing of leadership or like a changing of, you completely change the structure?
It's the structure.
Okay.
The
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, we had a core idea with the core people that we knew. But what was important for us is it's very difficult, as you can imagine, with 100 people trying to touch every single person.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Much more manageable in 10 people each, right? And I think we've done a pretty good job of, it's just not setting up a pod to set up a pod. Because again, you're going to set up more of a, if you don't do the way we normally do it, it's going to be a numbers driven kind of conversation with 10 people, right? I think we've done a really good job of separating the leaders because it goes back to them all having the different personalities. And so we know our team so well because we've had mentorship programs and all that, that we stick the proper people with the proper team leader. So they understand and learn from the people that speaks their language, you know? And so that's helped us quite a bit. And, you know, I think it was us going in and making these changes, pod structure. It was the only way that we were going to have them produce.
Yeah,
you know?
we had to change the whole entire structure too, because I think we got, like Dean was saying, like we got to the point that the meetings were just a meeting and it was the same thing over and over. And you don't need to meet. And then it became like bitch sessions where everybody was complaining on the calls.
That happens quite a bit. It still happens.
The problems.
And all the problems, and you're bringing it, and then one person has a problem here, and then everybody, it's a snowball effect where they started to not be productive meetings. So we pretty much changed the whole structure.
We really did.
We took like my VP of sales, who's phenomenal with like the people portion and the coaching and the training and doing the one-on-ones. We took someone else and put him into the more analytical because he was so freaking good with numbers, but he's also great at coaching and developing as well. But he could identify things future that like my VP of sales just didn't have the time for it. Like trying to touch all those people and then making the other meetings more about like, again, this is all sale. I hate saying this, but this is all sales drivers. So why are we talking like metrics over here when we can really talk about like, how do you move people to the finish line? So that's why we changed. There's no complaints on it anymore. It's like you have a client that has an issue. Great. Let's do a one-on-one on that. And that's what's going to move the needle on these people.
Yeah, 100%.
So we were able to like identify that structure that changed pretty much the whole way we did it before. So we stopped like just the meeting for the meeting. And then there's certain people you don't have to meet with on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
They're grinding their business. They're doing 40 transactions a year. They're busy. They
actually have, the main thing is they actually have a business.
They have their businesses,
you know,
and they have their
understand
structure.
what business is.
So they don't need to be on a weekly meeting every week. They can come once a month, you know? And I think that's the other thing we did is we started to pull back from the whole like, you don't need to be on something. If you're crushing it, you're killing it, you're out there, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, you're riding high, great. Phenomenal, high five, kudos to you. I'm gonna shout you out over here, keep grinding. Versus like having to bring them in and they sit through this thing just for the sake of making them sit through it.
You know what's interesting is the people who are grinding and our top producers, those are the people who we actually have as team members now.
And a lot of them want to give back.
Yeah, they are the ones who have volunteered because they've done a pretty good job of building their own business and they want to give back, right? As she said. So they end up being pod leaders. And we have pod leaders, we have mentors, we have, what is it, the mentor mommy? We call Sharon, who's
she's actually our growth mentor.
Okay, we used to call her the mentor mommy until we had an actual title. But she is in charge of all the mentees and mentors.
We bring on new agents as well.
So yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah. Anyway, going back, there's a lot of changes, but it all worked out.
That was one of the structures. That's one of the structures because we started like legitimately when we look at our thing. I went into I scared my team because I walked in and Google Drive is our baby. Like everything is in our Google Drive. And like when we came back from Italy and I went in and I was like, hey guys, open up Google Drive. And I started deleting all of our processes. And they were like,
hey, guess what?
Holy shit. They were like, what are you doing? You just deleted onboarding. And I was like, no, we're starting over. And they were like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, this is good. And we literally started our brand new recruiting process, brand new onboarding,
top to bottom.
Brand new hiring process, brand new training process, brand new accountability. Literally from top to bottom, we took everything that we had before and like parts of it deleted and started over from scratch, because what we were doing 5-6 years ago doesn't work anymore. And what we did to get what gets you here won't get you there. We just needed it. We needed a fresh face, and we've had this great energy since then. Like where we had one of our biggest months ever, like in November of last year, which was bananas to me. And then our second biggest was like last month? Last month, which I was like, we did how much? And it was revenue to the company, but also it was, it's units, it's everything just like crushed. And we just see that like the output that we did by changing it, it also invigorates the team.
It's a great thing, great feeling to see that, it's forever changing, but to see that, that shift, that change actually worked.
Yeah.
It actually did shift something.
Go to Italy more often.
Yeah. Right?
Hey.
We'll see what happens if we go to Greece now. We may never come back. This will be the last podcast we ever have, dude. So
no, we can do it from Zoom. It's totally fine.
Go away for a month, see if anything breaks, and then
that's it.
It's funny because we always it's a thing, right? It's like the real estate agents always say, hey, you go away for a vacation, you end up doing more business. I don't know if you know that, but it's like a saying that he's saying, right? And that's apparently the same thing for us.
Yeah.
We just need to go away more often.
I think you're right, though. As leaders, you got to walk away from it for a second and see if what you created to like function actually flows, because sometimes even us being in it day to day, like we walk away for a second and be like, okay, is it going to fall? Is it going to break? What's going to break? Because now we can solve for it.
Yeah.
If you've been liking everything from this episode, I actually made a completely free download in the description below that goes alongside. It's almost like a workbook, but it goes through actually each platform individually: YouTube, email, social, etc. And it goes into the metrics that matter, what we have proven to actually work, from things like we've posted over 4,000 YouTube videos last year, sent over 1,400 newsletters. And it goes into things like, what are the buckets that are actually proven to work for content on YouTube? What generates leads? What generates seller leads? What patterns have we seen? And it goes on email. What gets the highest open rate? What gets the most click? And then I go into the trends, the things that you need to stay on top of, as well as the core principles that really matter on the platform. And it's completely free. If you want to work alongside this and have something to kind of take away tactically and implement in your business, download it in the description below. It's completely free, and hopefully it helps you grow. So from what you guys can share, like either structurally or like the systems, if you had to like kind of explain like the structural change, okay, we had like this meetings, and that we reduced to this meetings. We had like one pathway, now we have 2-3 different like ways to have mentors, leaders.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can like describe it a little bit.
I think we had one of the biggest things that we changed was separating each and individual role, because as simple as that sounds, it's like hiring an assistant that's also your marketing director that also does outbound lead calls, right? We had, unfortunately, people doing a lot of different things, right?
One position
in particular, but everyone had their hands in everything. So the structure started with, okay, that's number one. We're going to clearly define roles. And what we found was when we started separating it was literally the leak was happening in like a listing coordinator, right? We had the operations manager doing the whole thing. As soon as we separated it, lights
got more
out.
Efficient.
Yeah.
Lights out. It was
we got
so
more
different.
efficient with it. Like, and when I say like we hired an outside recruiter to kind of support the team to bring them in, and created that whole structure with it, where like we do the last interview, they'll pop over to ops. Now ops has her own. We actually brought an assistant for her as well to help with the onboarding portion, because we realized she was drowning in it. You know what I mean? Because when we're looking at the workflows, we're like, okay, like you actually need support here, because this week, like 2 to 3 weeks out of the month, like she was drowning with like the work she was doing already, plus with the support that we had coming here.
Some of the stuff was just so tedious. You know what I mean? But she had to do it.
But it's just stuff that needs to get done. So I think that was with the recruiting side, it was bringing in an outside recruiter to be able to help with the team and support. Because at that point too, that was where our VP of sales was also doing that. We're like, bro, you can't, like, let's bring in the right person for that. So we have a recruiter, we have an outside recruiter now. For our mentors and our mentees, with that outside recruiter, we are bringing in some newer agents. So we needed to rebuild out that program to support that, because the last thing you want is your experienced agents drowning with a bunch of mentees.
Everyone.
They're going to be your mentors.
New agents drowning.
Yeah, new agents not getting supported. So recreating that process by having a lead who's overseeing it, who now reports to the operations manager. So it's not like me going into it or our VP of sales like he was before. Again, he literally had his hands in 50 things. What is that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. That's literally where we
landed on it. Good job.
It.
Good job.
I'm the worst at that, by the way. He had his hands in everything and just like wasn't able to master.
He was our IT guy.
And he does
he literally does everything.
He's a tech guy though. Like, I'll never be able to do the tech stuff. Like,
we need help. I mean,
But I think by breaking it down like we did, and like each individual role, every agent and every team is going to have a different flow for it. So like, I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, you want the open book? I'll open the entire playbook for you and give you exactly a step by step. But just knowing that that's what we did. We have a leader for each person that's responsible for whatever that is.
Okay.
So,
and it's go ahead. Sorry.
You can go.
Yeah, no, it's a forever, obviously evolving. Yeah, it is, right? One would say that we could maybe grow faster, right, if we had more operations and it got even a layer deep. But the problem is just we wouldn't have, we wouldn't have the business to support it. Number one,
right.
That's happened to us as well. It was like we threw bodies in when we had an agency. We actually were brokers. We had our own brokerage. I don't know if you know, but it was like 240 people deep up the coast. But we were just throwing bodies in, and it didn't produce. When we were hiring staff, to kind of help, and it just. So now, separating all those roles and growing thoughtfully is the only way we're growing.
I think it was Brian Halligan. He's CEO of HubSpot. He says like businesses start with like generals who kind of do a lot of things, and then you have to specialize as you get bigger.
For sure.
That's it.
I was curious. What surfaced that? Was it like, were you doing like time studies on each one and you kind of saw where they were spending their time? Or was it like KPIs or something else?
It's a great dude. What gives people joy? What makes people happy?
I know. You know what's like? It's as simple as that.
And it's so simple and it's so freaking easy. But like, are you happy in the position you are today? Like, are you happy? Are you like content? Are you growing? Are you joyful? Are you happy coming to work doing what you're doing? And it was funny because I had people that are like, I hate doing this. I do it for you. And we're like, you don't need to do this anymore, babe.
Yeah, go sell. I think, I think it's like a
simple question.
Most people,
simple question. And
most people will say to you, and I'm sure you've been through so many different podcasts, that there is, hey, this is exactly what we did. This is a structure. This is that, and I don't want to say, hey, we don't run our business like business, but we just, again, if you know your people and they're happy, and you can tell if I looked at you going, well, fuck, he's not happy.
You're miserable.
He's not happy, right? I gotta have that conversation. I gotta get down to the root, and then I can separate it. So it isn't necessarily that we had a meeting, specifically and said, hey, this is what I want you to do. This is that. It's just, again, like she said, is what brings you joy, and we can take that joy and craft it into an actual position.
Yeah. You'd be surprised too by like having somebody in a role that they actually enjoy, that they love. And I can tell when somebody's stressed out too. So we always were like, hey, how are you feeling?
Where's your head at? That's our favorite thing in the world to say.
Come on in my office. How are you feeling? How's everything going? I see it. I see the stress in your face. I see the stress.
It is.
They're like, oh my God, can we talk about it? But you got to understand, we've created the environment. And this is one thing I'll say that we're freaking good at, is we created an environment that they're okay to come to us and be like, I'm not okay.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be.
I'm not okay. I think a lot of businesses and a lot of business owners don't have that. A lot of egos in real estate, especially. There's a lot of freaking egos out there that don't let people have that, where they got to feel comfortable with you. And again, when we say family, like, bro, it's family. Like I know it's a family to the point that it's like, dude, they sit in the office and like, that's my little brother. Tell me what's up. Like, let me give you a hug. Something's going on. Like, what's happening right now? Like,
on top of that, it's like we always, I mean, probably the biggest thing we say when we approach all our team members is, how's your capacity? And so that means a lot of things, because everyone will say, well, I'm stressed. I'm right. Stretched, and now we go a little bit deeper. So is it that are you stretched because it's an efficiency problem? Or are you stressed because X, right? Yeah. And if it's an efficiency problem, then we have to sit down. We have to have those conversations on, okay, what is it that's taking most of your time to do? Can we alleviate it with another hire? Or can we make your day more efficient? So open up the books.
Or is there a process? Hey, maybe there's a process thing that we should look at. Maybe we can change this. Hey, let's look through this. Let's do this workflow and see, is there something we can take out? Is there something we can maneuver? This is literally what we do all day long, which is like as leaders, like how do we help them be better at their position versus letting them suffer in silence and sitting there, and then they get miserable, and then you've got people leading from the top that are unhappy. Then what happens? The people who are underneath them, now my agents are struggling because my agents aren't going to be happy when they talk to them. And then you've got like the next level, and it just grows. So it's like we created them the environment for them to feel comfortable, to tell us that they need help. And nobody's going to get yelled at if you need help. Nobody's getting like dogged if you need help. It's hey, and again, it's what do we do from an outside perspective to be able to help you do your position better?
The same person, Brian Halligan, also said that like businesses just get more complex as they grow. Mm-hmm. So it's your job as the founders to ruthlessly simplify, remove the constraints, and unlock more capacity for the team.
Love that.
And it sounds like you guys kind of do that in a very conversational way. It's you ask them, and you have kind of like a filtering process that you kind of work through. Yeah. It's like, is this? Okay, this, is this.
That's exactly what it is. You've nailed it. Exactly
what it is. And that's what it is. Because we like, and the other part of it too is like having them identify it sometimes. Like when we ask the right questions with your client, it's the same thing we do with our clients too.
You have to have them lead them to their own.
Lead them to the responses. Yeah. Lead them to the answers. Like, and once you get them there once or twice, they're going to be like, okay, maybe I can self-regulate a little bit more, where they're like, okay, I'm feeling stressed. Maybe I should look at this. So here you go. But sometimes people just need an outside perspective. And that's what we're here for. That's what we do. And I think you're 100% right. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate stuff. Like, are you?
We could.
No. I could add 17 more steps for you to do this, but why? It doesn't make sense. If you can get from point A to point, Z with like 3 steps, like you don't need 25 in between. So
yeah.
How do you know when it's like, okay, we need to hire this versus we need to do something else? Because the hires everyone can be like, oh, we need another person. It can get expensive. It's like, oh, we're back up to 50 people in operation.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So really you have to lay out what the workflow is and what the time frames take. Yeah. This is where kind of the KPIs and the hours and things. I'm like, okay, how much time are you really spending? Because we just did this recently again on another, when we brought
it's an efficiency thing, right?
Yeah. How much time are you truly spending on this? And then where does the fall over come? Also, what additional can get done with this hire? If that makes sense. I'm like, hey, if we bring this person on, like, is this bottleneck solved? And then like, what additional will this person take on?
Yeah, to be able to they do? Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like, okay, if we do this for you, we hire this person, what else are you solving for is the biggest thing. Yeah. So, okay, not just are we solving for your time and sanity, but what can we fill that gap, for you to bring to us or for your job? You know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, yes, we would love to hire everyone.
20 people. 20 people.
It'd be amazing to have.
It'd be great. No one would, it's like, hey, I'm like.
No one's doing anything.
Yeah. It's so great. This is great. I love this job. Yeah. Get paid 6 figures to do 2 hours of work. Fantastic,
No, but 9 times out of 10, it's not even a new hire that's needed. It's really a new process that's needed. But if there is a new hire that has to come in, sometimes it's even just like looking at the workflows. And just why are you doing those 4 steps?
It typically is that. It's the workflow or, just they're unhappy because they're putting too much stress on themselves. But once we go through that, we realize that, hey, it's just an efficiency problem. and they usually can work themselves out of that. And if we may alleviate, a couple different things, because it may involve, it may be because it's supposed to be in a different department, and it's already in-house and we don't have to hire, which is actually happening again right now with, again,
we're forever, but this is what we say. Everything is always fluid. Yeah. And like, as business owners, you have to be fluid. You have to be okay with change.
Constant state of dissatisfaction.
That's it.
That's an entrepreneur mindset right there.
Yeah, that's exactly
it. It's never, and I'm like, and it never, ever, I never would say it's never good enough, but I'm like, we can always be more efficient. We can always be better. We can always grow. There's new stuff coming up every single day. Like Claude, Forget about it.
We're all over co-work, code.
Now I'm done.
Like,
now I'm done.
Right now,
Claude's literally, they speak to us.
I realize how dumb I am. Like, I was like, okay, we could have done this so many different ways, but Anyway,
I was like, that's so smart. I'm like, thanks.
It's funny. Something that we had to learn was that, like, a lot of the times as leaders, you think there's something wrong with the people. They're like, they don't want to do it. It's always like the people, but then you realize it's the process.
Yeah.
It's usually not the people. It's the process is broken.
For sure.
Or it's our fault.
Yeah.
So
that's something we always say. It started from here all the way down. Something that had to be learned is it's always our fault.
If there's a problem in the business, like 9 times every time it's our fault. And normally it starts from either clarity and not letting somebody know what their role is, accountability, and like actually holding up. Hey, you take a shortcut once, then you're going to expect to take a shortcut every single time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's
even to take it further, even a workflow that we created that was not. Because look, at the end of the day, us as leaders, bosses, or whatever you want to call it,
we're not bosses.
But some people call themselves right.
Got it.
Is they have this idea of okay, I'm going to create this, and this is how it's going to be. And it obviously does not work, for that.
I learned that like early on managing people, that like, if you're in a constant state of like, it's their fault, nothing ever changes.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever change. You have to always look internal to be like, okay, it's at the end of the day, like Dean and I are here. So like, if something's messed up here, like where in the process here did it not fix? Yeah. So
did we not do our job in identifying quick enough?
Yeah, identifying.
And that's why it floats uphill. It's like,
that's why it always floats uphill. So anything wrong happens in the business. Now we will hold the people accountable, of course, because there is accountability pieces. But like, I always go back to it, and I'm like, hey,
where did we
agent made a mistake out in the field. What did their training look like in advance? And then like, what can we solve for moving forward to make sure this never happens with another agent?
Yeah.
That's it.
So like, does every agent on the team know that this is the process? Great. Let's make sure that everybody's trained on it properly. Mm-hmm. Clarity, like, how do I say it all the time, and I'm like, clarity solves everything.
Yeah. It's interesting because the way like tech and products are built is like, it's kind of the same way you build an organization. It's like you build it a certain way, but then you have to go to the users and be like, how are you actually using it?
That's exactly it.
It's how's the process and the service actually going as an agent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly
it. Like, it's funny, in our brain, we're like, it's going to work like this.
No, it never is, dude.
That was one of the things that we did,
turns out that way.
Where we were like, with our sales department especially, was like, hey, okay, so you guys are going to do one-on-ones at this time, and this time throughout the week, time block your schedule out. And we were like 3 weeks in, and they were like, that doesn't work. Like, it wasn't working for everybody's schedules. It wasn't working for the agents. It wasn't working for them. So they were like, okay, let's pivot it. You know what I mean? So it's even like sometimes like what we come to it with, once they're in it, they're like, hey, let's try it this way instead, because this works better for everyone. It's the same thing.
So a lot of this that you guys are doing is like, kind of goes to like one line of thinking. Like you've said it a lot, like bottleneck, constraints, thinking in first principles. Like, that's what like Elon Musk is insanely good at, and like Alex Hormozi is huge on that. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you guys have to learn to like think like that? And
oh gosh, that is a freaking great question.
It really is.
That is a really great question. I think we had, for me, it was a lot of You're getting some smart ass comment coming, I'm sure. I think it was a lot of self-awareness and humility.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's where like looking at something and getting rid of my own ego to say that like, because again, a lot of business owners will look at it and be like, it's not wrong. There's no bottlenecks. There's no problems. I created that. No, bro. Like, I created it. It's broken. We fix it.
Yeah.
And I think looking at it from the perspective of everything. Number one, I'm not the smartest person in the room, and number two, everything can be better.
You're in the wrong room if you are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she's absolutely correct. I mean, I think we, you know, especially myself, like I can tell you for certain, this is not how I was always. You know, I don't know if people have said this before, but I can certainly tell you that, you know, I've changed throughout the years, and I've had to grow. And one would call me potentially a dick. You know, because I had so much ego.
Not anymore.
And no, not now. I mean, I'm big papa now, but like before it was just like you weren't going to win. And those are the changes that you have to make along the way. And, you know, going down to the bottom, you know, it works. And it's our biggest change that we've had is just the thought process of who we are, the changes that we needed to make that would actually help the business, you know.
I'm curious if you can kind of like take me back to that bottom point where you had, was that like when you had to rebuild? Like, what was that like?
So there was two parts. So we've done this twice. Once when we lost all those agents, and the second part with one of our.
Oh, that was a great one. I know which one she's.
You know which one I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
And this is a great one. We had an operations manager that was with us for 6 years, had helped us grow from, and that was after the first one where we're like, okay, we're starting to change. We're getting to this point. And this is why we always say, like, having the right leaders in the right roles. Everybody has to have the same vision, being very clear with what we're all expecting. We wanted to get, at that point, I think we were at like 40 agents?
Yeah, 32.
30.
Trust me, it was burned in my brain.
Yeah,
it was 32 agents.
32 agents at that point. And our goal, we were trying to build to like 100. But that particular operations manager was very set on not getting more than 50. Like anything over 50, like she just, her brain.
She'd explode.
Her brain was like short circuiting. We were talking about bringing on more agents, and it was just because like workflows and things like that she was doing, she couldn't get out of her own way with it. Well, we ended up parting ways. Like she ended up leaving the team, which was actually one of the best, I don't want to say it like this, but it was one of the most eye-opening experiences ever, because as leaders, we did the cardinal sin of not inspecting what we expected. And we let someone kind of like roll with the business for 5 years and just like do their thing. And we were just like, yep, they got it. And I'm not lying to you. Like I came in and I got behind the computer and I'm like, holy, like what is happening?
Yep.
We shuttered the doors for 2 days and I brought outside people. And I'm like, I can't do this with just him and I. We brought someone, she's actually one of the leaders on our team now because I stole her.
Promoting her to
she's our CFO now.
Oh, wow.
So we actually brought her in. She was helping teams and businesses grow up in LA, and we were like, we need you. We got your hotel room for 2 nights. Come down. We like shuttered the doors, told all the agents like, hey, if you need anything,
the office is not in use.
The office is not open for the next 48 hours. We brought like we like scrolled out the entire business. And this was like the first change that we did, where we were like, we had to change every process from intaking, automation. Like this is the first, like that. I guess that was the first iteration.
Let me tell you,
that
one thing,
one change
was the only reason. No, that one event. Well, I will tell you that we parted ways, but we parted ways because she put us in a position where we had to. It wasn't a great situation. Had that not happened, and leading up to that, you know, it's the same. Who we are then is who we are now, right? It was a lot of lovey-dovey. It was a lot of I love you. And, you know, we would have continued that way unless that miracle that we say happened. Because had she not done that, we would never be here.
Yeah.
Because we made the mistake of being that I love you so much, but we never inspected. We just trusted her so much. We just never inspected anything, you know, anything at all. And it was just, honestly, it was like hitting a lottery. I'm not joking, but you know, that's what we did.
And then we brought on the right people. And that's when we got really smart and very strategic with our operational hires. Brought the right people up, brought the right operation leaders in, had the outside perspective. Because again, like this is the moment you have to be like, dude, like we looked at each other and we're like, we need somebody from outside to do this. Because we just look at the processes and they were so antiquated. And it's like, what are we doing? Like I thought we stopped this 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad.
And there's no way that we ever would have grown in that position anymore had we not had that thing happen.
Yeah.
When you realize that like stuff is being saved on a desktop computer instead of a cloud, what the fuck happens if the desktop goes down? And then you know what the best part is? My SOP manual, which was like a manual, like we didn't realize it wasn't saved in the cloud because we were like so hands off. Like, you got
There's
this.
just a paper manual.
Yes, and it's missing.
It disappeared. It disappeared. I wonder why, but it disappeared. And I'm like, all right.
And I was like, knew exactly
we got to start
what it
over.
was, and I was like, oh my God. So that's when I say like every SOP on our team, every process on our team, like 48 full hours. I think we like ate, slept, drank. Somebody watched my kid. I have no clue who was watching him at that point. Like, but we spent 48 straight hours rebuilding from ground up. And what we rebuilt for was not for the 35 people we had. We rebuilt to 100.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So 3.0 that we did last year, rebuilt it. That's the same process we've been using for like 7, 8 years, whatever it was. And now what we built last year takes us to 200.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And it's also...
It's forever changing too, right?
It's forever changing. But yeah, that was one of those like moments in our business that we were like...
The biggest, actually.
Yeah.
Well, what are you? The biggest.
It's one of the biggest changes because then we just like after that we just grew, we just exploded. We had the right, and I think between him and I had the right mindset at that point to be like,
that was
let's grow.
Lights on.
We got this. Both of us were so in it too. We were like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
it's funny is because like that's the true mark of like an entrepreneur. It's like you're backed in the corner. You're like,
let's go.
Fucking
it's all right.
I was like, all right, take my earrings out. Let's roll. Like, roll your sleeves up. Let's get in it. Like, we're not going to let the business go down. You know what I mean? I'm like, at that point, we have 35 families with team members who are waiting on us. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, here we go. Get in it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We had to rebuild. It was fun.
I don't know if you've ever heard, there's like a few things, like one from like 1 or 2 to 10 million. It's like you very systemize, you look at processes, you kind of build the foundation. Mm-hmm. And then at like 10 million plus, it's a lot of like, okay, leadership hires.
Yeah.
Like put the right people in charge of different departments.
1,000%. Yeah.
Is that kind of the move you guys do?
That's exactly what the move is.
I like to look at it people instead of even volume. I look at it for people. Me personally, I look at it by people because I think so. You're 1 to, and I know I think 100 people have said this before. It's hardest in the beginning. You're going to work harder with 10 people than like people like leaders right now. And I talk to a ton of leaders who are like, "How do I get to 100 agents?" And I'm like, "Okay, let me give you the playbook. Like, let me open it up for you." And 1 to 10, 1 to 15 is hard. Then you have that everybody says it, the messy middle, where it's like 20. Everybody talks about 20 to like 35. Like anything over like 30 people, you could do 300 people if you have the right process.
As you're saying too, it's at that last part when you're hiring the right leaders and the right way is actually going to, if they're the ones that are actually going to take the business to the next level, not necessarily yourself, just compete, but you got to get there, right? You got to get there. And once you get there, it's mastery.
And it's the 3 levels of business too. So there's always the level in the beginning where you have like the brand new agents or the brand new starting, like I don't want to say brand new, but brand new business owners. You're building, you have to hustle. Business. You are the business right here. Then you start to build and scale and you start working through the systems and the processes. And then but in this phase is where you're building the foundation and the groundwork. Then you get to the second phase, which is more like, okay, now I have processes, maybe I have automations, I have these things working for me. Third phase is people. That's how you grow through the third phase of your business. So after you've got this set, automations and things will never solve, especially in a human business like we are, because we are a human business. Agents, real estate, it is a human business at the end of the day. So they can automate the back end stuff, but you can't automate the forward-facing human component of it. And then you manage your people. So we're at the point that we get to manage through our people, which is, it's pretty incredible because also we get to change our leaders' lives too. Which is that's awesome.
They change their own lives as well.
We change their lives. Well, I don't mean it. Like we get to see them change their lives.
For sure. Yeah.
If you had to say like the role titles of like the leaders that you think helped, like, is it like sales leader? Is it this? Like, what are the general like? If this is like your board or general counsel.
Yeah, I can give you just our org chart.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously CEO, COO, operator, right? Jeanette definitely handles everything that has to do with our P&Ls and financials. Yeah, it's she's a CFO. Operational is completely different. So it's operational is going to be our operations VP, right? And she handles the core of everything that's happening in our business, and also liaison between us and Real, and the assistants that are there with her, and the listing coordinator. The sales director is obviously, his sole job is increasing sales and coaching, which is an aspect that not a lot of people talk about, is the role plays. It isn't about just driving the numbers, and as you said before, like sitting and just talking about, hey,
metrics.
Here's where we are. Whatever. How are you going to get? What are you going to do to get there? And the role plays is what's special for us on that side, is because we're actually giving them actual, action items, but we're showing them how to do it, and we're showing them very constantly. So he's done an amazing job for that. And then we have our sales director, who is all analytics. He's the one that reports up to our VP of sales. That is something, again, you're going back to separating roles, right? What we identified before of our VP of sales was, we thought he was the analytical person, which he is, right? And one of our team leads, who held a lot of the role plays, he is very good, but he was the analytical one. So once we separated the role, because we identified that, we sat down, we're looking at it going, well, fuck, Lewis is just, his shit, when we ask for something from our VP and we ask it for Lou, it comes back very different. Like, it's how detailed it is. So that org chart is built now off of their personalities and where the strengths and weaknesses are, but that's how the roles are separated.
Yeah. And then through our operations team we have the ops team, and then everybody runs through our VP of ops. So we've got like the marketing team.
Yep.
We've got that runs like the social platforms. We've also got the listing team. We've got the mentors and mentees, and they all kind of roll up through. The ones that were key for us, I think, we're having the proper operations staff to really get this part done. And they have to be forward thinking. And I think for us, she was forward thinking where it wasn't like
she's talking about the past one.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about ours now, like the one that we have now. Like, she was a game changer for us in us. Like, she's just forward thinking when it comes to like, how do I clean up the operation side, and then our sales department, and then of course our CFO, who holds us accountable.
Dude, she's
not spending stupid.
She's actually, believe it or not, she was the one. She used to be VP of agent relations for TELUS, which was Sharon's company. Yeah. So that's kind of, it's like one big family.
Oh yeah.
Sharon's one of our closest
for like 15
friends.
years. That's why I was like,
dude,
come help me.
Thanksgiving dinners and everything with him. And
he's a homie.
He was, he definitely turned me on to our relationship that we have now to her. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's good.
I don't know if you know anything about this or not, but I'm just going to ask to see. So in the tech world, there's kind of like Jack Dorsey kind of preceded this. I didn't think like there's a whole like idea that AI is taking jobs, et cetera. And that's kind of like it's a little bit wrong thinking. What Jack Dorsey kind of started in the tech world was there are processes in ways that there's organizations have built roles just for information to flow. And because of that information, like being commoditized by AI and the ability for the information to kind of flow seamlessly, some of that middle management layer that's just there for information up and down is almost obsolete.
Correct.
Right.
And so like in the new world of organizations, you don't need a lot of the middle management anymore.
For sure.
It's like, we looked at it and we're like, okay, we have Q2, we're going to start making changes for 2 departments. By Q4, we want to like flatten the organization.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if like you guys have seen any of that or like thinking about that.
I do believe that this is a good topic, right? Because we dove into AI quite a bit over the last year. I do believe that there's, positions that we currently have that may not be here in 2027, 2028.
It's hard.
It's very hard. I'll give you an example. Shit.
Don't say it.
No.
Not specific.
Okay.
Just don't say it.
But
Yeah,
like,
you're
there's
good.
positions that we have now that could be integrated into software through AI that could spit out everything that we're doing with one manpower. As it's pretty much reiterating what you're saying, and it may be more efficient. I don't think we've even talked about it, but I've dove so much into Claude. ChatGPT is what it is, right? But and their workflows. And you know, it's easy to say, and I know what she's going to say. It's easy to say that you can't replace a human being. You know, there's that something thing, but it's a new world, and it's just forever getting, you know, better. You know, we both know that by the end of this year, it's just going to look so different, man, that it may be even more than what I'm personally thinking. Who knows, right? Especially the positions that we're thinking of hiring, we may not have to hire that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and because we're talking about scaling and leveraging, right? But we don't necessarily know that next hire who we think that we need to alleviate is going to be an actual person.
Yeah. I don't think it is either. And I think that's actually something we caught recently. I think with the structure that we have right now, because again, we are in a human business, I wish that, and I will say what I think he was going to say, it is a tough one for us because when you're dealing with 100 individuals, it's very hard for one person, even with AI or anything else, to manage that.
Yeah.
Through an AI platform, because you still need to have face-to-face with people, especially in our business, and with the way that our culture goes. And I think if we tried to remove that, if we tried to remove this, we would lose our culture. Our culture is super freaking special. Our culture is unheard of. Our culture is what makes us us. So that's where the human component comes in. What it is some of the additional things that we would add in where AI can take that support off. I almost hired, it's funny because I was talking about this recently because I was like, hey, let's get an assistant to help alleviate some of the time frames here for the sales team. And we were like, no, after stepping back and looking at it, I think he was like, no, why don't we just incorporate a little bit more of like the AI into it to be able to take some of the timing off? And that's all we did. We were like, hey, okay, so now on a weekly, we're spending X amount of time inputting it in. So it's spitting out data. So we have a little bit of the time that, you know, our sales director was spending, he doesn't have to do that anymore. And we figured out a really clean flow behind it, but at the same time, that takes time to figure out what that flow looks like. So it's work in the front to kind of like front load what that process looks like in order to get the reward on the back.
And you know, the ones that we would implement this are the ones that, you know, AI is already doing very well. It would be more like marketing, you know, things like that can easily be taking over.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, and I keep saying, I'm sure you know this, but big teams have sometimes 4, 5, 6 marketing people. Oof. You know, it's like, it's crazy, right? But we may never have to get there on if it's something very specific. And I think, you know, that's what I was saying about, you know, trying to cut out a few of those jobs and saving a whole lot of money doing so as well, the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's more so like completely deleting a role. It's like efficiencies within.
Correct.
Love it.
That like maybe would have required 4 people. It's 1.
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Can you imagine? I mean, the time, the effort, and the energy.
It's already helping us.
I freaking love it. Are you kidding me? Like, I can get stuff done and you know what the other part of it too is, because we've trained ours so well. Like, they talk back to us. They know, they think everything. I'm like, hey, okay, I have this idea. What do you think about it? Like, he's constantly walking back and forth. Our kid, I'm like, oh, he's talking to Chad. It's fine. Like, he's totally fine.
Yeah,
but
like a psychopath.
But they know us so much, and we've trained them to just deep dive into it. What do you say? Don't be a yes man. You're like, don't give me don't give me the fluff. Don't give me this. Like, actually think outside the box and give me something better. It's like another leader to fucking bounce ideas off of sometimes. Really is. Like,
it's so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you played with like Cowork. That's like one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like Cowork can already bring up. You can have it go through different things, bring data to you. Yeah. It can do a report every single Monday or every single Friday. So it's like it can do a lot of the stuff that you might have like an admin do
for sure.
Or something.
It's exactly it. Yep, for sure. Yeah.
And it can pull data from your stuff,
your files, everything.
Yeah. We're
no longer checking email
it with some of our backend systems, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm pretty big into like health, wellness, and I think a lot of times, just in order to build a business at a certain level, you have to like kind of treat yourself almost like an athlete.
Oh, this is a good one for me. Go ahead.
It's your guy.
So I'm curious, like, what did you have to like change about your routines, about yourself, so you can like keep operating at a high level as the business grows? Because if you don't do it, then you can easily burn out, stress, etc.
For sure. Okay, so I'll share with you. I'll get a little personal if you could, because this is This is good for me to talk about. So when I was born, right, at 3 years old, I lost a lung, right? It was taken out. And ever since then, I had played sports. I was just adamant of taking care of my body, right? Played sports. I never knew any better, right? It was playing sports. It was like, okay, now I'm just adapting to a lung. As I grew up, I knew deep down in my heart that the way that I was actually going to have mental clarity was through sports. It made me feel good. It was something that to this day, she can ask you, she can tell you,
Yeah.
I do not waver from taking care of myself because I have to take care of myself first before I can take care of her and then to take care of the business. That's the one place that I've had to say, if I'm selfish, I'm number one, because it rolls downhill. You have to have that stress reliever because, we've been there. We've all been there before. We've been our blood pressures being high, stressed out, doctors being like, hey, this has got to stop, and then it's the priorities that comes with it. And then you have to take that time for mental clarity. A lot of it comes from that. A lot of it comes from that hour, 30 minutes that you get in the morning where there's just quiet and you're thinking about your day, your life, your whatever it is. Those things have to be a staple in your business. So for myself, and she could talk to a little bit about hers, there's nothing runs in my world without that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's so important for like the mental aspect of this because you have so many people relying on you and you have so many people coming at you all day long that like you give the routine. You have to put yourself like take that, whether it's 30 minutes to an hour, whether it's Pilates or yoga, or we train with a Muay Thai trainer once a week. So I get to punch shit like once a week. Like it's the best aggression.
Better him than me.
Better, like, you know what I mean? Like he's like, let's spar. I'm like, absolutely. So like that for me is like, I think he said it best. It's like, you got to put yourself in this place because you have so many people relying on you that like your health and wellness, and we're not getting any younger. So there's a moment where we say like, look, like I want to stay here and I want to be here for another 40, 50 years. Well, maybe not 50, but 40 years. I want to be here for another, and that's not going to happen if you don't take care of yourself. Yeah. You can get super stressed out. And for a while there, especially when I was like out in the field a ton, like I wasn't as healthy or as like I didn't take enough care of myself. And then you start to see your body tell you like, get your shit together. Get it together, girl. Cause like your body's going to tell you. And then that's when you start to get sick. And that's when you start to have to deal with like doctors and things like that. So yeah, I think it's uber important for us as leaders to do that. There's no way if we can't show up at 100%.
Yeah. It's kind of like, if you have a cup of water, it's the saying that like you can't pour from an empty cup or a half-filled cup.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
exactly.
And it's tough too because we have to show up for our kid. I think it's funny. I don't believe in work-life balance. Like I am anti the whole ideal of it. As a mom, as an alpha, as a woman, as like everything, I just don't believe in it because I think the social constraints tell you that you're supposed to be here, which I think is bullshit. I think that sometimes your family needs you more, and I think sometimes your work might need you more. But I think sometimes Dean needs me more. And sometimes I need Dean more. And sometimes it's work related or sometimes it's clients. And I think if you have a lot of communication and clarity with your family and with the people who are important to you so that they understand that they will come first when they need to be first, then yeah, I think a lot of people, it's so hard. I thought in the beginning, I'm like, I'm going to have this great work-life balance. And then I stressed myself out to the point of like.
I think it's definitely changing the definition of what it is.
Yeah,
right?
It's just changing. I believe that. And there are times, like a lot of times that there are non-negotiables where like, I'm going to sit down and have dinner with Dean and X. Like Xavier's my son. So I'm like, or our son. So we're going to sit down and we're going to have, he's our kid.
You sure?
Ours.
You are the father. I mean,
you are.
This got weird super fast.
Stop it. But I taken the time to be able to have that quiet time with us. That's time that I try to take. But there was a day like 2 weeks ago that I had a client I had to meet at 6, and I was like, okay, guys, like I won't be there. Dean's going to be there for you, but we'll reconnect. You know what I mean? But just having that conversation with them prior, versus leaving it and then being like, "Where's mom?"
It kind of I think falls around in like the social media world. Everyone wants like the perfect. Like, it's like tweet.
Black and head.
It's like, what's the I just want to have the perfect balance of everything because that's what you see. But it's like entrepreneurship. Sometimes at the very beginning, you have to put in a lot of work.
Kidding?
Right.
And then there's a little bit of like change and shift throughout. But yeah.
You have to earn the right to get there.
Yeah.
It takes work, again, not having a social, work-life balance. Nothing grows without hard work. And there's a lot of sacrifice. Has to be.
So much sacrifice.
There's and sometimes it does. Not seeing your family for a while. We tell all our agents that this is obviously a very hard business, and the top producers, some of our top producers has 2-3 kids, but they're doing it right, and because they're sacrificing. I mean, it's easy to show our agents, hey, they're doing it because they're sacrificing. That's the reason why they're making $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year,
$500,000.
You don't. You're single. You got nothing going on. What are we talking about here, right? It's like you will have no sacrifice.
You don't need to.
That's what sacrifice looks like, Yeah.
I'm curious if you look back at like your past, kind of your history, where you guys both came from. Like, what did you have to sacrifice and overcome to get to where you are today?
Dude, we both grew up broke though. Like I grew up broke. Like I'm talking government cheese, food stamps. Like I didn't have anything. Both of us.
I was homeless for 9 months at the age of 14 with my mom. So I think sacrificing has been both of our lives.
We sacrificed. Yeah. We grew up with I think both of us grew up with the mindset of like, I will not fail. Like, and whether it was me like hustling, I came from the hospitality industry. So I was like, I learned early, like I went to college and I learned, I can make money bartending. So I'm slinging drinks, you know what I mean? And I can make a ton of cash bartending while I was in college. And I'm like, I took that hustle mentality and then I was like, well, I can grow in the hospitality industry too. So like, I've always had that, like, I will not fail. Even starting in real estate, it was, you have one of two choices. It's succeed or succeed. Period.
Yeah,
and you just have to have that drive and that go to be able to get to where we were. Dean's the same way. And I think we said it, we had 3 months worth of, like when I came over.
3 months worth of money for rent.
3 months worth of bills forward. Like we were renting at the time. This was probably 16
It was
years ago?
after 2008 when it crashed, I got kicked in the face and we were like, okay, we're going to do whatever we can to scrape some money.
We moved west and then we were like, let's go start over on the West Coast. And then.
Yeah. And then we just grew it from there. But, going back to your question of what did you have to sacrifice? When you go through that kind of growing up, you look at it and someone would ask me, hey, what do you have to sacrifice? It's like, nothing. We already know what fucking bottom looks like.
Yeah.
There is no sacrificing. Everything is uphill from here because even if we did sacrifice something, we know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And anything that we had while we're growing up business, even if it was a sacrifice, would be nothing compared to what we had to go through.
What we came from.
Yeah, and it's not just young. That lasted all into the 20s, even going into 30s, So sacrificing, yes, but sacrificing has always been there for pretty much all our lives.
Sacrifice some time and stuff, but if I look back on it now, I'm like, my kid's 12 and we can take him, like we can do things now with him that we wouldn't have been able to do
100%. Even 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
It would be different,
We learned. So I don't even look back at it. Like, it's hard because I'm like, yes, I guess it feels like a sacrifice at the time, but if you do this right, like give it a go. Years.
You set yourself up and
you're setting yourself up to be able to do more later on. So just if you look at it like it's the building block, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. Like,
I think at any point, just so I think, and just probably for your business as well, you get kicked in the face and if we lost our entire business today, there'll probably be, we call it the 5-second funeral, right? It'll last a little bit longer, right? But we would roll up our sleeve. We know exactly what needs to happen.
We just got to
and it would be just like that.
But we also pivot. We'll pivot quick though.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
we'll pivot quick and we'll be able to dive in there and do what we got to do,
That I think that's kind of like the underrated thing of like going through hard things in life. Like everyone has different variations, different forms, some worse than others, but it's like you learn like a little bit of mental toughness, able to rebound and like your ability to use that as like a benefit versus like as potentially like a detriment.
Yeah.
It's hard for us sometimes because I'm like,
builds that muscle.
It
for
builds
sure.
the muscle. It builds us the grit to be like, you got to grind. Like you have,
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that, man. You know, some, even when they came from our background, they say, you know, they struggle to
we don't
still
use it as a crutch.
No, because that's it, right? So there's a lot of people who have these experiences growing up, but they use it as a woe is me. You know,
Or an
it's
excuse.
not an excuse, yeah, and it's obviously not going to get you very far, you know. So it does.
And everybody's different. So I can never do a comparison on it to be like, yours is worse than yours, is yours than yours. Everybody goes through trials and tribulations and things like that. But it's like the mental, like you said, the mental toughness. It's the grit. Yeah. It's the like, I never want to be like, how much do you want it? Because mental health is such a touchy, like, it's just, yeah. I think we just grew up with and I think also having a support system like Dean, and I think you would say like having a support system like me too, like having each other in this, like is another thing because we get to be each other's hardest critics, but also our biggest fans and our biggest support factor. So I still have to like
knuckles.
No, I wasn't. I can't give you knuckles. I wasn't giving you knuckles.
There you go, dude.
But I think having each other to support through this too, and having a partner who's legit, like not only just like a business partner in it, but like a life partner in it that understands. Like we have these goals, we have these dreams, like we know when we can call each other out and not again.
It goes back to her can't suffer in silence, right?
Yeah.
So.
Both of us.
So have you ever thought of like Xavier is his name, right?
Yeah.
Like you're kind of building him a life that's going to be a little bit shielded from some of the stuff.
Hey.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I want to hear the rest of this.
I love what you're going to say.
I'm curious, how do you like, because for example, me, like I want kids someday and like thinking through like, are they going to be able to go through some of the same things or do I have to teach them a certain way so that they don't even have to go through some of that? It's like, how do you think through that?
Okay. You know, I think we're a big, firm believer of allowing him to go through his mistakes, you know, and finding his own joy. One would, you know, I think a lot of times parents would want them to maybe follow in their footsteps and things like that. But no, I don't think necessarily we coddle him, you know, in any way. I think, you know, we're good parents, but I think he finds his own way. He understands. He's really good, dude. I'm telling you right now, he's really good. I'm gonna be a proud dad. He's really good at math. The kid is a genius, and
Smart.
As much as we want to believe that he's gonna come our way, you know, and join he's gonna find his own way, and we support that 100%.
I think that the world is so different now than it was in the 80s and 90s, like when I'm going to say our age, but like the 80s and 90s when we grew up, like the world
He said
is so
kids one day. So I'm like,
I know.
baby over there.
The world is so freaking different now. The kid was born, he'll never know a day that there wasn't a cell phone. He'll never know a day that there wasn't Facebook. He'll never know a time.
Never know a day without AI probably.
No, yeah,
he'll never
exactly.
know. Like he knows AI, and it's tough because at 12 years old right now, like he knows he's a really, I think Dean said he's a really smart kid. So I think his world is just different. I think for us as parents, I'm not a big participation trophy mom. Like
No,
I'm not that person.
that's
I'm like, bro, you're gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. Like,
Yeah, we're not those
And that's
parents
where
at all.
I'm like, bro, if you're playing Monopoly with me, I'm going to smoke you, and I'm gonna make sure.
He has to use his brain. Right?
Like,
That's what we're not
you
going to
gotta
coddle
use your
him,
brain.
right?
Like I'm not gonna coddle you to that point. Like you're going to lose sometimes, and you're gonna have to learn to lose gracefully, because that's what like we went through. We're just not those parents. That was not us. That won't be us. At the same time, though, he is a different kid than us. Like he's super smart, super freaking analytical. He's very like thought process, but I think that comes from how he grew up. He grew up with computers. Like kids right now, like they don't have books. Like everything that they do is on a freaking Mac, like on a MacBook or on their laptop at school. So it's tough, like because.
Yeah, he's over there typing 100 words a minute. And I'm like,
it's just a different world and it's a different society. So I think he's going to have his own trials and tribulations that he's got to go through. And as parents, we'll support him through it.
Yeah.
Like, and we're going to guide him in the best way. We're trying to raise a great freaking human. Like, and we're trying to do our absolute best doing it. I always make the joke though, because he's really smart and he's very systematic. that he's either going to go one way and build something that's going to change the world. Like he'll build that software that's going to change the world, or he's going to be a really good serial killer. So like,
it's going to go one way or the other.
Mark my words right now. It's going to go.
We don't know which way.
The other. Like
we'll learn in a few years.
But he's a really good kid.
He's going to be the best in something. Just so you understand. We'll see how that turns out.
We'll see what happens. Like who knows?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you guys like plan or set out to build what you build today, like a 10 million plus business?
No,
not in any way. I think our goal, well, at least I can tell you from when I started, you know, when you think back when you're younger, I hit it big was 100,000. Like if I can ever make it to 100,000, that's ultimately the goal. I'll be happy forever. You know, so we didn't have money. We knew what broke was. We knew what government assistance was. So having a $10 million business or a $20 million business was not even something that we even thought of, thought we could do, to be honest with you. We're not going to sit here and lie and say, hey, we had our shit together. There was a fucking plan. We knew what we were going to do. No, there was none of it. It was, can we survive was really what it was, and it just so happens that we were, and holy shit, we went through a couple of stuff and now it's growing. And I think at a point when we were actually growing it, then we saw, okay, now we can go to 1 million, to 10 million, to 15 million. You know what I mean? And that now has, I think, built the hunger of we can go more now. We've raised the bar.
As we learned it, I think that we weren't done in the beginning with our money or like our income. The first 8 years was all foundational. Like it's all foundational. So like every dollar that came into the business went back into the business. Like there was no going out buying like fancy shiny cars and shit like that. No, I rocked my GMC Terrain like to $5 million listings and was like, let's go. Like that's what I was, until we got to the point that I was like, okay, we're starting to get so comfortable because we had built all the foundations in the business to get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Like really, like we weren't stupid in the beginning with our money. We weren't flashy. We weren't crazy. Now we're at the point that we're like, okay, now we're more comfortable.
Yeah, we didn't have a real, I mean, as she said, we knew what we were doing. We were pretty smart with it, but I don't think that at any point, there was that, like a number.
No.
It was just like, we know what we have to do.
Yeah.
More type of situation.
And our goal now is when we're looking at is like, how do we set up for future? And how do we set up the people in our world to make sure that they can have future so that the company still goes on? Dean and I choose to retire someday or choose to pull out. So like, we're just like, like, how does it continue on without us? And how does this legacy continue to grow? Where like he and I remove ourselves from it. And maybe that's like what we were talking about. Like you leave for a month and you see what breaks. Maybe we go for 6 months and then we come back and then we see, does it still run on its own?
By
and
its
what
own
does that
or
look
not,
like? In 10 years from now. And that's the foundational things we're building now. It's like, how do we continue to have income? And what other investments and what other things can we build so that X has stuff later on, the team still can grow?
If there was a goal, again, just staying on the topic of, did we think that this was happen? Obviously, no. There was our systems and processes. If you were to ask me what the next goal was it a number?
I was about to ask.
Right. There isn't, but I can tell you very bluntly, you may have heard this before. We want to get to a point where there's fuck you money.
Yeah.
And that's the number for us, right? And just to put it bluntly, that's what it is. We can say anything around it, but it's different for every person.
Yeah.
And by the time you hit that fuck you money, guess what? There's more fuck yous in there.
There is, what is that saying that we say? There is no ceiling in this business, but there is a fucking floor. And we've seen the floor and we're about to go like, there is no ceiling. Like we're going, like we're done.
So that's the goal. FYI. I don't know if you can put that on the podcast or talk to somebody else about it and say, hey, Dean and Afroditi have fuck you. They want fuck you money.
I think that's pretty fair. It's like most people who are business owners like want to reach a point where it's like you have built some big enough nest egg where that nest egg is almost growing on its own.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
compounding.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's building should be leveraging. It's leveraging your time. That's what it comes down to is like So I'm not in the field anymore like I used to be. So now I'm leveraging my time by building the other people who are going to also be bringing income in. I'm building my leaders so that they can lead. And then it's freeing up my time to be able to do the other ventures, or freeing up Dean's time.
Acquisitions.
Yeah, acquisitions, or being able to have other ventures that are going to be making you more money. And I think it's leveraging the time smart and leveraging your people smart, that's where the sustainability of long-term comes in.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like the next growth strategy, acquisitions?
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
As many as I can, as much as we can.
Yeah.
Businesses too. There's a lot of, we have a lot of good partners as well.
Yeah.
Our hands on a few different things. So it's kind of my job these days now.
That's awesome.
To go that route. Yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to, he's the #1 team in SF, David Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
He's grown through next level growth through 2 acquisitions or 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's interesting that when you think about you can grow the business in like different levers and different ways.
For sure.
Right.
That's it.
You have to look at, and then if you've created something that's like easily duplicatable and sustainable, that's
and especially when you're growing your own company where you have the right people in place and it's starting to be self-operated, it does, like she says, alleviate the time to go and do that. If we were just in our business all the time and not worried about the leaks and, growing, the operational staff and like that, it's putting out the open house signs till we're 80.
So,
we talk about it all the time. How do you get out of that? You can't. People look at it and go, holy fuck, Dean and Aphroditi, 150 people making X amount of money. Yeah, we're fucking old, man.
Speak for yourself, bro.
No, this is like, I got a cane. I don't, but 20 years from now, we never got it. This was our ceiling, you know what I mean? But it comes with the business first and making sure that's operating the way it should be, and then get the splinter off.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you had to think about everything that you've learned, everything that you've built, what does world-class leadership mean to you?
It definitely starts with knowing where your personal strengths and weaknesses are first. Because look, leadership comes from leaders that have growth themselves, right? It's not hey, I've learned everything and this is how I'm going to deliver all the message. Awesome leaders understand that growth happens even our level, right? So meaning we have partners like Sharon. He's obviously there. Different coaches. Dude, we have a spiritual coach. These are things that have to happen to be able to translate into our agents. The second part to that is good leaders don't necessarily always act like leaders. What I mean by that is some good leaders allow their own operation staff and agents to be leaders as partners. So you have to think of it more as a partnership than actually just being a leader itself. Because you can't if you can't give them a voice, right? Then you're a boss. You're not a leader. And it's all coming from up top. What you learned, how you deliver it, who you bring into your ecosystem, and what voice you give them.
Yeah. I think it's just knowing that everything in your business is not about you. And I think I've said this before. It's like every decision that you make in your business to be a great leader it's not about Aphroditi. It's not about Dean. It's about, am I putting this, whether it's the person or the client or the consumer, am I putting them first to make sure that this works the best? But it's never about me.
No.
No choice, no decision, no purchase, no nothing. It can't be about me.